If you look at what we did for squash, today we have close to about 8 players or 10 players who have won Asian medals and Commonwealth medals, and that's been a wonderful story we've left.
I remember sitting in face-to-face with a very big marketing person from a company. It was ITC, and ITC at that time was the granddaddy of sports in India because they just sponsored everything. And I was sitting with a very senior officer of ITC, and I told him about my squash vision, and he says, well, this is impossible what you're talking about. Where is the squash court to do it? There's no squash court in India to do your vision. So we said, yes, we know, so we're going to import a squash court all the way from somewhere around the world. He says, import a squash court, have you lost it? But that's what we did. In 1993, we discovered one squash court in the world, which was in Cardiff, Wales. A squash court that could be dismantled and that could fly on a plane. Unheard of. We brought this squash court down from Cardiff, Wales. We had a partnership with the Cricket Club of India. We set it up and we created our own squash venue in the middle of a cricket ground. So we were at the CCI and we put up this squash court, squash venue, and people are astounded that our games are going to begin in the evening. How is that going to happen? So this squash court, which was made of Perspex acrylic, had a contravision film on it. And when the sun set and the lights came on, it was a jewel. You could look from outside to inside like a fishbowl, and the players could not see you because of contravision. So these were revolutionary things, and we had the best squash tournaments of the world here in India for 6 years.
Today, if you look at the world of squash, the Thunderdome, that with the 4-back Perspex acrylic glass court, the name Thunderdome, which is what it's globally called today, was nicknamed by us as Procam. If you look at the overhead camera, which takes those wonderful shots of people stretching and almost doing splits when taking their shots, was invented by us, by Ken Ghosh of the overhead camera. So lots of lovely, the promotions of bringing people and actually the ramps being used for Mahindra Jeeps to come up and get the players. These were new innovations which, trust me, forget India, had not happened in many parts of the world. And we were voted, keeping in principle what Procam stood for, we were voted as the #1 squash event in the Global World Tour.